Welcome back to The Big Show. It's Alex Belfield talking to the country's biggest stars and my favourite people, and Richard Wilson has always been one of them. How are you?
I'm very well, Alex. How are you doing?
Well, I'm not bad for a boy, and the great thing is I get to come here day after day speaking to really interesting people, and I think you're one of them because you're a real trooper in show business, aren't you? You work hard.
I am, yes, I work quite hard, yeah, I suppose. But that's what we all want, isn't it?
Yes, well, to be asked, I suppose, is nice.
To be asked, yes.
What are you? Are you an actor, a producer, a director? Because it seems like you dip your toes in Lovely Lake when you want to, but actually you're more curious about getting stuff on stage and making it look good.
I'm an actor-director, or a director-actor. No, I'm an actor-director. Actor first and director second, but it's about 50-50, actually.
Tell me about being selfless, because I don't understand that. How do you go to make a show look great via being a director, opposed to just standing on stage taking all the glory?
Oh, yes. Well, I love working with actors. That's why I direct, and I've directed television and film, but I really like to direct in the theatre because that's when you get to work with the actors and rehearse the actors. And I just love work, especially with new writing. I'm an associate director at the Sheffield Crucible, and I loved working with new writing, and a new play and a group of actors it's a really exciting process.
And in terms of the shows that you do, how picky are you? You won't do any old rubbish, will you?
No. I mean, I'm always looking for new plays, and that's difficult to find good new writing. And another problem is that theatres put their brochures out a long way in advance. So at the moment I'm directing plays that have been done in London but not done in the provinces. So I did Polly Stenham's That Face in Sheffield, and I'm now going to do The Pride in Sheffield by Alexei K. Campbell. And these are plays that are having their English premieres.
It's very interesting, the kind of shows you put on, and especially in the north. I mean, I've been to that theatre in Sheffield so many times, and what you've got to kind of do is break down the barriers of it being intimidating to the audience, because I have to admit, sometimes Shakespeare can be a bit much, can't it?
Yes, I mean, we will do Shakespeare, but I think the public are by and large more ready to come to Shakespeare than they are to come to new plays. The public are very afraid of new writing. But I think there's a very good audience in Sheffield, and most of the new plays are in the small studio theatre.
Do you think they're scared because a lot of it's rubbish? Is that half the problem, that they don't trust that they're going to get value for money with new plays?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they just like to. They know they can trust Chekhov. They know they can just. I would rather see a new play than sit through another Ibsen, to be honest.
Yes. There's nothing more dull than Brecht or Harold Pinter sometimes, is there? I mean, it's not that uplifting.
No, absolutely.
When I look at your CV, I mean, academia has played such a big part of your life. Does this make you a great actor, that you understand the science of acting and the science of putting theatre on? Because, I mean, you're a Shakespeare scholar, aren't you?
No, I'm not a Shakespeare scholar. No,
well,
I wouldn't. I would cross that off. Cross that off immediately. I've only done one Shakespeare, and that was Twelfth Night for the RSC. No, I'm not a Shakespeare scholar. I'm a scholar of acting, certainly, and doing Merlin has given me a lot of experience that I've never had of doing a sort of regular straight series, and that's been very exciting.
When you find somebody with great talent, is that as thrilling as doing it yourself, that you've actually created something?
Yeah. And yes, because you feel slightly part of it. You feel, to some extent, discovering new talent is wonderful. I mean, casting is terribly important. When you're casting a play, you've got to be it takes a long while. It takes 4 or 5 weeks casting to get the right cast in order, because if you make a mistake, you're sort of lumbered. You can't get rid of them, and it's a very, very important process. And discovering new talent is very exciting.
Now, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Here's my take on acting. Are the greatest actors those that don't look like they're acting?
Exactly. It is very difficult to give. I mean, the problem about acting in a big theatre is you've got to pitch it so that everyone in the theatre hears it, but it seems as though you're not just standing there shouting your head off. That's difficult. And that's a skill. And also the great skill of acting is to appear to be in the moment, to appear to be that you've never ever said it before. You're only saying it for the people who are sitting there. That is difficult, especially if you've been doing it for a very long time.
All right, we're talking to Richard Wilson today. He's the star of so many things. Merlin, of course, the new DVD is out now, and we're going to get on to One Foot in the Grave, which we have to talk about because you were so brilliant at it. Back next with Richard Wilson. We're back with Richard Wilson on your favourite local radio station. It's Alex Belfield talking to one of our greatest actors. And I tell you why I say that. I mean, I've seen you in so many different things over the years. And in this new thing, Merlin, you look proper at it. I know that's not great English, but do you know what I mean? Some people just look like they're faking it, don't they?
Well, I mean, that's very kind of you to say so, Alex. I'm thrilled. That's what we try and achieve. If that's what's coming across, that one's doing one's job. That's
Simple
great.
as that.
Yeah.
When we look back at your life and career, it's really interesting. I mean, one of the things that sticks out for me is your national service. They don't do that anymore. Is it worth it? Because I hear a lot of people say, oh, we should send the kids now for national service. That'll teach them a lesson. Did it teach you a lesson?
Well, it was quite good for me. I'd never left home before. I'd never been away from home before, and I went to Singapore. It taught me a lot about, for example, I was suddenly thrust into a very international community, a community of black people, brown people, beige people, which I'd never experienced before, and that was very good. And I loved it, but it's not. It doesn't work for everyone. And I was lucky in so much that at the time I was a medical laboratory technician. I was able to carry on my work in a hospital in Singapore. But for a lot of people, it was just 2 years out of their lives and out of their careers, which sometimes they were made to do things like being an infantryman is not going to be very helpful.
Were you always different and strange and a bit odd? Because most actors are a little bit, aren't they?
I don't know.
I mean it in the nicest possible way, Richard.
Well, I often say to young people who ask me about acting, get some life experience first. Don't leave school and go straight to drama school, because you've got to get some experience of the sort of the mores of society, of how we exist, and you don't get that from other actors, because we are peculiar in so much that we want to be other people from time to time. So you're right, we are slightly strange, but there's a lot of camaraderie in the business. It's not as bitchy as people make it out to be. Actors are very trusting of each other, and actors, speaking as a director, actors are pretty bright by and large.
What I love about you is that you speak as you find. I notice you support things like Stonewall, and you've spoken many times politically for the Labour Party. You also support local theatre, and of course Sense is one of your charities. Is that always a bit dangerous? I wonder now in this PR world whether you better keep your mouth shut and just take the money and run.
Well, no, I mean, what I feel is, of course, that it's good to be able to give something back. And because I had worked in medicine, a lot of the sort of charities I support are medical based. But no, I think it's when you get into something like One Foot or Merlin, you become a bit of a celebrity, if we use that word. If you can use that, I think one's got absolutely every right to use it if one wants to.
I must talk to you about the Labour Party. Not going so well for them this year. How are our new coalition doing, Richard?
Well, I mean, I'm very happy with the new Labour leader, Ed Miliband. I voted for Ed, and I think he's doing rather well, gradually getting settled. The coalition, well, we in the arts are very, very upset by the idea of having to deal with cuts, because theatre is one of Britain's great cultural assets, and to cut back on that seems crazy to me when it is such a huge national heritage. So we are not too happy about. We're not saying that we should be, not part of the cutting, but it seems a bit silly to take big chunks of money when the arts are, we need our funding so desperately.
Are we going to pay the price in years to come, do you think, where we're going to wish that we had kept putting the amounts of money we have in the past? Because the chances are that people who had an opportunity perhaps 5 years ago or even today aren't going to get it in 5 years' time.
Yes, I think that's right. And it's, there was a time when we were talking about free education, free universities. But that's now they're talking about. I'm not surprised that the demonstrations of students. Education is a right, and to be asked to pay thousands and thousands of pounds doesn't seem quite fair. When I went to drama school, I was funded by the London County Council.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take another piece of music, and we'll come back with our remaining moments with Richard Wilson. We're back on your favourite local radio station talking to Richard Wilson about his life and career. The one thing I have to talk to you about, of course, is One Foot in the Grave. And what's really interesting about that is you went from RADA in the beginning to proper theatre, as it's known, Shakespeare and that stuff. Then one day you turn up with a hit TV show, which is comedy. How did your fellow professionals react when they found out that you were going to be in your own show, being funny?
Well, I did quite a lot of other comedy shows, situation comedies where I was in support, like Only When I Laugh and things like that. So when One Foot came along, and I was very lucky to work with Annette Crosby, who played my wife. But yes, it was a bit more responsibility having one's head above the title. I mean, people were very generous about it. People liked doing the show. We had lots of good guests, and they were very happy.
Were you ever bothered that it almost overshadowed your past? Because, of course, TV's so there in your front room and it made you such a big star. Was there ever a period where you wanted to say, hang on, I'm a properly trained actor that's been doing this for many years before I ended up on BBC1?
Well, no, I think, I realise that I am a sort of a character, a comic actor in a sense. That's what probably I'm best at. When you're working with material like David Renwick wrote for One Foot, it's a real privilege. It's a real privilege to have a go at that stuff. And it was wonderful. I had no regrets at all.
And, of course, we all loved you for that saying, which I'm not going to get you to say, because, of course, people shouted that at you for years, didn't they?
Yes. No, I don't go around saying it a lot.
Don't blame you. And very finally, of course, where we're seeing you now is on the hit show Merlin, which has just gone gangbusters. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's doing rather well. And we're doing rather well against things like X Factor on a Saturday night. We're getting very good figures, and it's being sold all over the world.
Is it nice to be contemporary again? Does it matter to you that you're in a hit show, or would you rather actually just do good stuff regardless of the audience?
Well, it's nice to, I always think Merlin is quite a tough schedule, and when I get really tired at the end of a week, I often think of some little Chinese village where they're watching it and think, well, I'll do it for the Chinese today. It's wonderful to think that it's so universal. I mean, a lot of my mail comes from all corners of the globe, which is very exciting.
And getting through your day on that programme must be tough, because it's relentless, isn't it? And you're doing a lot in a short space of time. They get their money's worth out of you, don't they?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's a 12-hour day most days, and then at the end of the 12-hour day, you have to go back and learn your stuff for tomorrow. So it's pretty hard on, full on.
And those foreign fans, I know you mentioned them earlier, I understand they're very much into you in almost kind of a creepy, obsessive way. They turn up and even watch you just go to the bathroom or get in your caravan on set and stuff like that. Creepy.
Yes. Well, it is a bit creepy. They turn up and they book rooms in the hotel we stay in Compiègne in France, and of course the hotel management have got no control over that, and they sit at the entrance to the castle, and some of them come in costume. Which is creepy.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
Richard Wilson, thanks for coming on the programme. We wish you all the best and have a lovely Christmas.
And to you, Alex. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you. Bye.